Welcome to the Renewal. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Today we'll be listening to some dating horror stories. Comment below if you ever gone on a date that was awful or just plain awkward. Remember, we should always practice safe dating habits, whether you meet someone online or run into someone on the streets. Always think of your safety first. Always keep in mind that this person is a stranger and you do not know them. You should never give a stranger your address. Dates should never involve a guy being at your house or you at his. Not only is that unsafe, but definitely a red flag. Trust your intuition at all times.
This happened a few years ago, and I honestly consider myself so incredibly lucky to be alive after experiencing this. I was living in New York City at the time, and I matched with a guy. For the entire time we were talking, he was really aggressively trying to get me to go out with him. And eventually I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna let this guy take me out on a date. Maybe I'm just being judgmental. Maybe he's not being desperate. Maybe he's just putting in an effort. So the day of the date rolls around, and he tells me that he wants to take me out to a restaurant that is a bit of a hidden gem and is a little bit outside of the city in an area of Westchester called Yonkers. And even though he offered to drive me, I was like, no, it's all good. I actually had my own car in New York City, so I agreed to meet up with him. Now, I feel like an absolute idiot because I didn't even Google this place before I went. So on the night of the date, I'm driving to this place. I put it into my GPS, and it's really weird because as soon as I see it in the GPS, it says that the place is closed. So I text my date and I'm like, hey, I just put this place into the GPS and it is telling me that it is actually closed. To which he replies, oh no, don't worry, they're really bad at updating their hours. This is the part where I should have just been like, oh hell no, and I should have canceled the date, but somehow I decided it would be a good idea to get in my car and drive 40 minutes to Yonkers for a date with a guy. So after 40 minutes of driving in traffic, I arrive at this place in Yonkers. I pull up to the building and I quickly realize that there is nobody in the parking lot and that indeed this business is really closed. Not to mention, my car is the only car in the parking lot. So I start to panic, and as I look behind me to put my car in reverse, I notice another car pull up. This car pulls up right beside me. I don't even look at the person sitting in the car. I just simply back up out of that parking lot as fast as I can, and I get the heck out of there. The entire way home, I am just looking in my rear view mirror to see if there's anyone behind me, and thankfully there was not. And the craziest part of all of this is when I got home, I went back onto that dating app and I could see that the profile had unmatched with me. I never got a chance to screenshot that profile. I never learned the guy's last name, but I can't tell you guys how many times I've heard this happening to girls on dating apps. It's not worth it. Just delete it for your own safety. And if you are going to be on dating apps, please always make sure to get the person's last name and to meet in a place that you are familiar with.
Put a finger down if you got set up on a blind date by one of your coworkers and you and the guy went out to dinner and you were having a lot of fun and you were really hitting it off, so you decided to get a pitcher of margaritas even though you're a lightweight, and you guys were having so much fun that one thing led to another, and next thing you know, you guys are bar hopping on a Thursday night and you ended up at a few different bars, and at the third bar it was super busy and super packed and you suddenly got the urge to shit, so you went to find the bathroom and the line was so ridiculously long that after waiting in line for what was maybe 10 or 15 minutes, you ended up shitting your pants because you couldn't hold it anymore. So then you had to go find your date and tell him that you guys have to leave the bar because you just shit yourself. And your date has to order you guys an Uber back to your house, well, back to his house, and then you go back to your house, and then you have to endure a really long and really awkward, stinky Uber ride. And then you get dropped off at home, and then the guy unadds you on everything, and you never speak to each other or hear from him again.
You should be really careful about who you're dating. So this is a true story, friend of a friend kind of thing. There was a young girl. She lived in New York City, and she was on a dating app and matched with this young guy. He seemed like a really great person. He had his stuff together, good job, lived local to the area. They talked for a few weeks. Everything was going really great. No red flags, all of that good stuff. He decides to ask her out one night, and they end up going to, she agrees, they end up going to the restaurant. He pays. He's a gentleman. He's nice to wait staff. They wrap up the night, and they both go to their respective homes. And after she gets settled at her apartment, she gets a text from him saying that he lost his key, and he's trying to get a hold of his roommate. His roommate isn't home, but his roommate is also not answering. So he's kind of like stuck outside of his apartment, just sort of like telling her that. And she just kind of figures, all right, I'll invite you over. So, maybe give him a little bit of time to figure out what's going on, either find his key or get in contact with his roommate. So he comes over to her apartment and they have, a really nice chat. They sit on the couch. Finally, she decides that she's going to go to bed. She doesn't know why, but she goes into her own bedroom, which has a door. It's just one of those things that she felt like she needed to do, which I totally get. New people in your space. Sometimes it's nice to just be extra cautious. So she goes to her bedroom, she locks the door, and he's sleeping on the couch. Around 3 a.m, she wakes up to a knocking on her door. It's her date. And he asks her if she has a cell phone charger because his cell phone is dead and he needs to charge it. This is the part where it gets really crazy. So she tells him that she has one and it's on the kitchen counter. And she just tells him this through the door. She doesn't get up. She doesn't unlock the door. She doesn't go and find it for him. And I'm thinking to myself, if this was me, I would totally get up and grab it for the person and give it to them and then be like, all right, anything else? Good night. He says thank you. He goes, he grabs the charger, whatever. She doesn't know. She just goes right back to sleep. A few minutes later, he knocks on the door again. He said it's not working. And does she have one in her room? At this point, she's thinking that there's something up. She decides to call the police, which, once again, good for you, girl, for having the instinct to connect with the police. The police show up to the apartment. They knock on the door. She hears some commotion going on. And then she gets a knock on her bedroom door, because mind you, she hasn't come out this entire time. And it's a police officer. And he said, we've cleared the apartment. We have him in custody. We really need you to come out of your room so you can take a look at your apartment. She opens the door and walks out. And she sees that her entire living room is plasticked. And there is a set of power tools sitting on the floor. This girl, because of her instinct to not open the door to a weird request for a phone charger in the middle of the night, saved her. Before you decide to take someone home or let them stay at your place, think twice about it.
Some of these, the audacity is so rich, it's so thick, it's potent. You can cut it with a knife. If I told you ladies once, I will tell you again, and I will tell you over and over and over again until you get it. You don't have to be nice. You don't have to make a man comfortable. As soon as you're uncomfortable, let it go. As soon as that man was acting like he didn't have anything planned on the second date, he just wanted to lay up in your house, soaking up your AC, playing on your TV all day, got his feet up on your coffee table and all that. As soon as she felt uncomfortable, she should have told him to leave. You know what? This isn't working out. But she waited until she couldn't take it anymore. That toothbrush and that bar of soap was a deal breaker. But ladies, don't feel like you have to be nice. As soon as you're uncomfortable, call it. You don't owe this man anything. He drove an hour there and he could drive an hour back. He's not spending the night at your house on no second date because he took you to lunch yesterday. Man, so what about that lunch? Give him his money back if that's what he needs, but don't let somebody just make you feel uncomfortable in your own home.
Don't trust any of these dating app men.
All right, I'll see you later.
Yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.
I just went on the worst date of my life, and just wait till you see what he texts me when I got home. So I meet this guy on a dating app, red flag number 1. We're talking for a minute. He says, hey, let's go get some lunch. I'm not even gonna lie. I haven't been on a date in a minute. I might be out of practice, so at least I get a little free meal out of it and some interaction. The date is going good. We got some good chemistry going on until he wants to bring up his exes. He gives me a whole backstory and pulls up pictures of each one of his exes, Beatrice, Bob, and Brittany. No tea, no shade, but what do they all have in common? They're all white. I was like, wow, they're all so beautiful. He was like, yeah, they're all right, but I've always wanted it in a black. Did he just say a black? Then he goes on to say that I'm the perfect shade. I'm not too light. I'm not too dark. I'm the perfect Hershey kiss. I don't want to be on this date anymore. I'll finish my food. We get the check. I try to bounce my car. He walks me to my car and says what he said in the first clip. I get home and I cannot wait to tell my family this terrible story, and this is what he texts me. You're actually really pretty. I normally don't talk to younger brown guys. So I said, I usually don't talk to ignorant people. So I think we should stop talking.
So damn good. I'm trying not to eat everything because I can eat a lot, and I definitely am a plate clearer, but my outfit was really tight and a light color, kind of like a stretchy material, where I was like, yo, if we do anything after this, I'm gonna look pregnant if I keep eating. So I slowed down. So we start talking about family and his family dynamics and my family dynamics, and don't know again how this comes up, but I'm talking about my father and how we don't have a relationship, blah blah blah. How about this man starts telling me that I need to find a way for my father and I to be cool again? Sir, do you know this man? Do you know any of the reasons why we are not cool? Do you understand that there could be so many reasons, like he graped me, dropped the G? There could be a multitude of reasons that I'm not with him. And he was just like, oh, you know, a lot of times people's moms don't tell you the whole story of what goes on with your dad. And then before you know it, you have animosity for him and it's not even real. And I'm like, it's crazy to me that men will literally defend other men that they do not know whatsoever off of the strength of what's happened in their current life. So I'm just drinking more. I'm like, Lord have mercy, what is this date? And he is a little older than me, so he has that, like, I know what I'm talking about, like, slightly condescending manner that I can't stand. So I'm hitting him with a shake your head, Jess, shake your head. Because if I say how I really feel, I'm gonna flip this table and dip. So I'm just like, stay pleasant, just get through this evening. And then it gets worse. I don't know how we end up here, but we start talking about Rihanna. This man starts telling me how much he loves Rihanna, how much he wishes he could date Rihanna, how much he would just do anything for her, how he's like a super fan and all this shit. And I'm like, bruh, who doesn't want to date Rihanna? She's a baddie, she's beautiful, she's from the islands. You done know how the thing go. But can we not do that right now? Bruh. When I tell you this man, it went into strict and very definitive detail about Rihanna's appearance, about how classy she is, about how he felt like he would just suck her toes and just, it was insane. I knew I would never see him again after the date. I was like, yeah, this is dead. Like, we're never doing this shit again. I said to myself, it's so funny that a lot of women will think that dating men with status and dating these famous men is just gonna make life easier, when they don't realize that a lot of the times, not saying always, but a lot of the times when men have clout or they have money or they have some kind of status, they have their own crap going on in the background that you're probably going to find out about, and they just make it really hard to deal with. And they're not willing to see their own crap because in their mind they're perfect and they're a catch and you should be lucky to be here. But yeah, I never saw bro again. Negative 10 out of 10, would not recommend.
I called him on his bullshit. I called him on his bullshit. And he had a bad attitude. Men.
Y'all, let me tell you about this horror story date that I went on, right? So I was talking to this guy and it was a Tuesday. I was off that day, he was off that day. So I'm like, oh, okay, like, what you doing today? What you got plans for tonight? He's like, oh, I'm probably gonna go to the movies. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. He was like, yeah, do you want to come with me? And I'm like, not really, because I don't really like to go to movies on the first day because, hello, it's a movie. What are we gonna talk about? Right? But then I ended up talking to my friend on the phone. I'm like, oh, like, I want to go out to get something to eat, but this guy asked me to the movies, like, should I go? She was like, yeah, you should go, like, why not? So I called him back and I'm like, hey, like, you know what, I don't mind going to the movies, but can we change the movie theater to somewhere that's a little bit like in the middle of the both of us? So he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, cool. So I'm getting ready for the movies or whatever, and then I think he had texted me. He was like, oh, do you think this movie theater checks bags? And I'm like, probably not, because as far as I know, movie theaters don't check bags, unless you know the Sunrise movie theater in Valley Stream that used to be lit back in the day. They checked bags for whatever ghetto ass reason, but movie theaters usually do not check bags. So he was like, oh, okay, cool, because I'm gonna bring some food. And I'm like, oh shit, you lit, okay, cool, right? So now I'm in my car, I'm on my way to the movie theater, and then he calls me. He's like, hey, how far are you? I'm like, oh, I'm like 10 minutes away. He's like, okay, do you need me to get your movie ticket? I'm like, yes, I need you to get my movie ticket. Why wouldn't I need you to get my movie ticket? So then he's like, oh, okay, cool. So I get to the movie theater and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm here. Where you at? He was like, oh, I'm inside. And I had a blonde moment for a second. I'm like, you inside the movie theater? He's like, yeah, I'm inside. I'm like, so you like about to watch the movie? He's like, nah, like I'm at the concession stand. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I come in, his back is turned to the door. Like, bro, you know I'm coming. Like, turn around, come in between, like, you know how movie theaters, they have the first door, the second door, like, come out there, like, something. He didn't do that, right? So I come over to him and I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, hey, give me a little side hug or whatever. Then he starts telling me, like, oh, his app is acting funny, like, he can't log in. I'm like, oh, damn, like, you didn't do like a password recovery, password reset. He's like, nah, it's not letting me, he don't got access to that email, blah blah blah. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. So he's like, oh, do you want anything to eat? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take chips and a drink. So he's like, okay, cool. So I see him order the tickets, and the tickets is like $44 for the both of us. And in my head, I'm like, damn, that's kind of crazy, especially when you know, like, on a Tuesday the tickets cost like what, $7 or something, 7 to 22. Like, that's a big jump. Anyways, so he orders the tickets and he's kind of like upset because, like, it's expensive, right? Or it's not the price that he was expecting it to be. His app was not working, it wasn't expected, whatever. Okay, cool. So I get my food and now we're walking to the movie theater. And he is walking, mind you, this man is like 6'2", 6'3". So he's walking, and when he's walking, he's taking like donkey strides, like horse strides, like mad big steps. I'm shorter, like I'm 5'4", I'm average height. I'm not about to run to keep up with you, right? So I'm walking my regular pace, and then he what did he do? I'm walking my regular pace, so that he peeps like, oh, she's not walking next to me. So he stops and like he waits for me or whatever, right? So we get into the movie theater, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna be right back, text me when the movie starts. So I'm like, okay, like, is he going to the bathroom, like, what's going on? So he goes, he comes back, he like, okay, I got it figured out, I'm getting my money back, okay, cool. So we watching the movie, I'm eating my chips, I'm dipping it in my cheese, like, you know. Then I'm like, okay, do you want some? He's like, nah, I don't want any, I got my own chips, can I just have some cheese? So I'm like, okay, cool. So he takes out a bag of purple Doritos, and he act like, you know, he getting the cheese or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. So then the man takes the cheese, holding the cheese that I need for my dry ass chips, right, eats some, and then puts it on the, like, not in the middle of us, on the side that he's sitting on, so on his right side, because I'm sitting on his left side. So I'm like, okay, so I'm kind of just sitting there, I'm not eating my chips anymore, right? But I'm not about to say nothing to you because, like, common fucking sense, like, I need my cheese back. So then I'm like, he's like, oh, you need that? I'm like, yeah. So he gives me my cheese back. I proceed to eat my shit, and I'm not about to ask him if he wants cheese again, because I already know what this nigga about to do. He about to take the fucking cheese and not give it back, and I'm about to have some dry ass chips, right? So we're sitting there watching the movie. Then this nigga pull out a fucking box of chicken wings. Okay, and I'm not gonna lie, them chicken wings look good, right? You pull out his box of chicken wings. Did this man ask me if I wanted a fucking chicken wing? No. So he's chowing town, like he's going to town on these chicken wings. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Peeped. I didn't ask for none. That's your business. Peep, but I peep. So then we're watching the movie, and then he's like, oh, that's a Porsche rocket ship. That's a Porsche. In my head, I'm like, bro, do you know that I'm just a girl? Like, I don't know nothing about cars. I don't know nothing about supercars, fancy cars. I don't know nothing. I don't care either. Like, all I see is a Porsche. I don't know what kind of Porsche it is, nor do I give a fuck. The movie continues, and then he like puts his hands like this, like behind his head, and I guess he was about to like put his arm like you know the, oh, I'm tired, put my arm around you shit. I was like, mind you, I told you he was sitting next to me on this side. I said, okay, we continue watching the movie. Yeah, so the movie comes to an end. So we're getting up or whatever. Mind you, remember I told you this nigga had Doritos, he had chicken wings, he had fucking, I don't know, French fries, all that other shit that he had to pick the fuck up. Oh, did I mention, did he order popcorn too? I want to say he ordered popcorn too, but maybe he didn't, so we're just gonna leave that out, right? So the movie's over. So, you know, I get up, I got my little trail, whatever, and he's taking his sweet ass time. So in my head, I'm like, yo, I'ma just walk to like the exit of the movie theater, because this is awkward, like me just standing here, right? So the movie's done, And obviously the movie's done. So anyway, so he gets up, he meets me at the door. Does he have his trash? I don't even know, because I think I waited for him like outside the movie theater and not just by like the trash cans. So I get outside, I'm waiting for him or whatever, and then he's like, oh, okay, like I gotta go use the bathroom. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna wait right here. Negative. As soon as he went into them bathroom doors, I booked it. I ran. And I think one of the guys that was in the movie with us, he like saw me and he was coming out. Like he was walking to his car too. So he low-key starts laughing because he's like, like, you're leaving. Like, that's funny. Anyways, I booked it to my car. I blocked his number. And yeah, I haven't heard from that man since, because how dare you ask me to come to the movies with you, then ask me if I need you to buy my ticket. I don't need you to buy my ticket, but you will buy my ticket because you asked me to come to the movies. Furthermore, you're a man and I'm just a girl. And as far as I know, the movie tickets are $7 today. How dare you take my cheese and not give it the fuck back? How dare you get chicken wings, and if you knew you didn't want to share your chicken wings, dude, you could have asked me when you was at the chicken wing spot and be like, yo, do you want some chicken wings? This is what I'm about to eat at the movie theater. How dare you try to touch me? I can't even say that definitive if he was really trying to put his arm around me, but how dare you even, like, why would you even do that in a movie theater? And who the fuck gives a fuck if they're driving a Porsche rocket ship? Obviously, that's not the name of the car, but, you know, I'm just saying, like, it's a supercar. Who cares?